What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Bacon in My Garage on a Hot Day in Florida channel. Today we're going to be talking about a triple tree adapter for razors specifically. If you see here, I have a MX500. It's pretty decked out. I'll show you guys. We'll probably do a separate video on that too. It needs a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff we're going to change on it. And I know you guys are going to ask if it's mine. It is not mine. It is my buddy Matt's. He got a heck of a deal. We're talking he got a full RSF roller, a MX 500. Of course, you'll see a little bit more of that in this video. An MX 500 frame, like 3 different swing arms, stock swing arms, 4 different pairs of wheel sets, QS 165 with the Far Driver 72680. Again, I'll go over all that stuff. We're going to do a full transformation on this guy here very soon. But first I want to talk to you guys about these triple tree adapters that PYMoto has sent to me. Now these guys reached out and they wanted me to show these off for you guys, and it was the perfect opportunity, perfect timing, because we just got this guy right here. It does have another triple tree adapter on it, but I want to go over with you guys why it's not really ideal. You know, I'm not trying to throw shade at this guy or this company, but I mean, the way things are progressing, the more aftermarket parts that are coming out, we really need to be vigilant on making sure that these things work as intended. And unfortunately, this just doesn't pass for me, and I'll go over with you guys why. I'll be pulling the bearings out and kind of showing you mechanically how these things work and how they need to work. But yeah, so big shout out to PYMoto for sending out these triple tree adapters. They're going to be selling the stem, the bushings, the washers for I think 40 bucks for the triple tree adapter, and then they also have an option where they actually have the triple clamps as well, and then you just need to get your own 45-48 forks. But yeah, so let's go ahead, get right into it, and I'll show you what they sent me. Oh, and before we get into this, I do want to mention that not all of these are going to be the same. The RSF's crush tube and some of the MX 500s, they can't accept a 15 millimeter axle. So PYMoto is actually looking into sending a crush tube out as well. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit in the video. It's just that long black tube that goes in between the bearing on the inside of the headset. So they're looking into all this, make sure that this is a nice easy drop-in solution for you guys. All right, let's get into it. Shout out to PYMoto. They're on the Facebook groups if you guys want to check them out, the Modified Razors groups. I mean, there's probably about 10 different razor groups now, but go ahead and pop this open. Of course, I've already been in here. But as you can see here, we have our triple tree adapter right here, and then we got the 22 millimeter bushing and the 25 millimeter bushing, I believe is what it is, with the 15 millimeter axle. No more 10 millimeter, no more 12 millimeter. This thing is chunky, and honestly, you got nothing to worry about. Now, of course, there are other options out here, but I think this one is going to be the best. And again, I will show you why that I like this option preferably over the one that's in it right now. All right, guys, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this apart. I want to pop the bearings out and kind of assemble this so you guys can see it, kind of like if you were looking through this like x-ray vision, seeing how this pinches to everything, how it works by pinching onto the bearings and the crush tube on the inside, and why something as simple as these little washers right here down at the bottom is going to make a huge difference. So let me go ahead and pull this apart. Alright guys, now before I go too far taking this apart, this is really what I'm talking about is, You know, it doesn't matter what triple clamps or whatever you have, if they're skinny or thin, this should not happen. So when you got your when you got your forks put into this thing, you know, your whole forks are disconnected from the bike. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's happening. When you clamp these down, you're relying on these bolts here to hold this stable, but you still got movement up and down. Like, you see that huge gap right there, and then we're riding on the top of the head tube, riding on the bottom of the head tube. Like, even if you stretch these out all the way, tighten your forks down, the first couple hits, these things are going to knock out of place, and your whole front end's able to move up and down like this. You know, I've done a video on the SX500 and the RSF showing you how to adapt these kind of triple trees to your bike and actually, you know, clamp down on the clamps so everything's nice and stable. It's pinched down on the inner race of the bearing and the crush tube. That way you don't have this wiggly problem and you got a nice smooth turning. But yeah, so let me go ahead, take the rest of this apart. I'm gonna pop the bearings out, and then I'll give you a closer look at what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so here is a inside view of what's going on with your triple clamp setup, your adapter, whether you're on a 12 millimeter or a 15 millimeter, or just the bone stock. So what you have here is you have your crush tube, and then you have your bearings that are pressed into the top and the bottom of the head tube. So basically, once you pinch this bolt and this nut down, you're going to have compression on the inner ring of the bearing here. See if I could see that good enough. So you can see how this crush tube sits on that inner ring. So I know I'm pretty terrible at explaining these things. And then you have that, was it the little 15 millimeter to 12 millimeter or 10 millimeter adapter that the razors normally come with. And that's going to help raise the clamp up off of the bearing itself, so that way the bearing can spin free. No matter how hard you tighten this thing down, that bearing's going to remain free. Now with these ones, you can see you have nothing stopping these triple clamps from banging around on these bearings, or even when you you know, clamp your tubes down, this is what you're getting. You know, it might not be super noticeable right off the bat, but you'll notice as you're, you know, hitting any kind of hard bumps or jumps or anything like that, your whole front end is moving up and down like that. And in my opinion, that's just not acceptable. The way these bikes are going, we're hitting speeds 50, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. And this stuff really needs to be paid attention to. You know, I know we all want to go out there, start selling products, helping the community, but there has to be some sort of mechanical knowledge on this stuff. You know, this stuff needs to be safe, it needs to be proven, and it needs to do what it's supposed to do. I mean, these are designed that way for a reason. So hopefully this visual will kind of help you get an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and put the new setup in here. I believe this is with the 12 millimeter axle, and we're going to go ahead and throw the 15 millimeter bushing set from PYMoto, and I'll show you the difference. We have our adapter set up from PYMoto. Now as you can see, these triple clamps are in there solid. There's no movement to them. I mean, I got this bolt and nut cranked to the max, like as hard as I could. And as you can see, not moving, the crush tube, it's in there solid, not spinning around. And then if you look at the bearings, kind of see that right there, they're spinning nice and free. This one's a little crusty, but you can see it's spinning nice and free. So what that's going to allow is once these bearings are back in the head tube, you're going to have that perfect churning, nice and smooth, but you're not going to be relying on, you know, your fork tubes being pinched down on these to keep your triple clamps in place. Now this is how a triple tree is supposed to work. You know, you've got a washer right here, a washer right there. The washer is just small enough that it only sits on the inner race of the bearing, crush tube in the middle. Got your bearing here, your other washer sitting on the inner race of the bearing, another washer up top, and then your bushings on the inside of your triple tree or your triple clamps, they're just small enough to where those two washers can pinch at the top and the bottom of your triple clamps, really making them nice and solid. This is what we want to see in the community. Look guys, again, I'm not trying to throw shade at this other company or any other company that's doing it similar to the other one. It's just very important. I know we all want to get in there, we want to help support the community, we want to make a couple bucks, you know, stuff like that. You know, it is what it is, you know, but we need to take the time to mechanically understand how these things work and keep each other safe. Like I said, we're doing 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. You know, we got new kids coming up and they see this stuff and they're stoked to get it, and it can go wrong so easily. And you know, companies like PYMoto who actually took the time to, you know, figure this out, you know, like I showed you guys in the SX and the RSF video how to do it properly, they did it properly, and that's why I will support companies like this. It's simply the right way to do things. You know, you don't have to worry about your triple clamps flopping around while you're trying to put the fork tubes in. Just nice and simple. You throw this together, you got your 15mm axle, which is super beefy. This thing is not going to snap. I mean, like I said guys, just don't take this as hate from me. Take this as I'm looking out for you guys. I'm looking out for other companies, and I just think y'all should take a little bit more time and do it the correct way. I'm very impressed with this. You know, I'm always skeptical because, you know, I'm very meticulous in what I do, and I like to make sure things work and are proper. That way when I make videos for you guys, it works out for you and you don't have any issues. And that's exactly what I got from these guys, and I'm super stoked about this. I'm stoked to throw this on my buddy's bike. Big shout out to PYMoto for throwing these to me to make a video for you guys and kind of help spread their names. Yeah, definitely appreciate that. That is nice and solid. Bearings nice and free. I'll go ahead, pull this apart, throw it on the bike, and then kind of show you it back on the bike now. All right guys, let me get to it. Kind of jumped the gun installing this here, but I kind of wanted to show you real quick. So basically what you want to do is get your top one ready. You got your insert on the inside, and then you got your top and bottom washer. So as you can see, you got your top washer and your bottom washer down there. So you just stack those three pieces into here, put the top clamp on top, the bolt down through, and then again you're going to take your washer. I'm going to do this on the clamp itself, but the washer on top, you got your adapter or bushing, whatever you want to call it, down in the middle, and then this, all three pieces are going to slide up under here just like so, and then we'll put our nut on. Let me go ahead and do that real quick, and just like magic, our nut made it on there, fully tightened. Like I said guys, I have this absolutely cranked down. No more floppy triple clamps. These are nice and solid. As you can see, they turn together. So this whole piece right here is one solid bolted piece. And then they're crushing on the inside of the inner race of the bearings. So you have that nice free movement. Again, not throwing shade, but this is how it's supposed to be done. And I urge all these companies to modify their stuff and just get it right. I mean, if you want to use this stuff, the thinner ones, it's whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. But this right here is like one of the key pieces to figuring out how to adapt a 15mm. This right here sits inside the bearing, and then this lip right here is what the original triple clamps, or you know, the steel plates that the razors use to press up against this. That way it's fully clamped down. It can't move around. I mean, obviously those ones are built different, they don't move around anyways, but you know, that inside washer is absolutely key to this. And then making sure the bushing on the inside to adapt it from 25mm down to 15mm, it's got to be ever so slightly thinner than the clamp you're working with. That way it allows both of those washers to pinch down onto the clamps. That's really all it takes, guys. I mean, this is a super stout, super solid setup, nice and smooth. You're not worried about your whole forks being disconnected and moving with the bike, going through whoop sections or bumps or off of curbs or anything like that. Just want us all to be safe. You know, we're progressing very, very rapidly. It wasn't even maybe a year and a half ago where we were all scrambling to figure out how to get the triple trees on, to get some nice forks on these things. You know, I came out with the RSF video and the SX video, and I was one of the very few first people to do this kind of stuff. But like I said, it's blowing up like crazy, and we really just need to make sure we're getting the proper stuff mechanically sound out to the people. That way we know when they throw this stuff together, they're going to be safe and sound, not going to have issues, you know, 6 months from now, or, you know, because all that movement, eventually something's going to give. Something solid like this ain't ever going to give. You know, you're going to snap triple clamps and you break fork legs and all stuff before anything happens right here. Like, I would even say the frame will snap off before, you know, this bolt gives. I'm going to go ahead and throw this together, and then we'll end this video off. Again, another big shout out to PYMoto. Check these guys out. I will link them down in the description. I believe they're only on Facebook at the moment, but as soon as they get a website up, I'll go ahead and link that down there as well. So if you guys want to get a real set of triple trees on your Razor, make sure you hit them up. Super cool people. All right, guys, let me throw this thing back together, and we'll end this thing off. And there we have it, guys, done and done. Now, don't pay attention to all this fork tube sticking out. Yeah, it's pretty sketchy, I know. But I'll be going over this in a different video. We're going to be swapping out the fork tubes for something a little bit smaller. Yada yada, stay tuned for that. We're pretty much going to transform this whole bike. But yeah, so right away I can notice when I'm wiggling around the front end, it's completely solid, no more clanking around. Smooth turning, absolutely no resistance at all. Another thing I want to mention is, now that these are nice and firmly clamped down, you're going to have a lot less chance of these twisting on you. So you're not relying on these being completely clamped in order for the fork tubes to not twist. You actually have tension from this bolt right here, and those washers compressing down too. So just kind of a whole combo of things really help make this front end nice and rigid, exactly how I like it. So again, big shout out to PYMoto. I appreciate you guys sending these out, and honestly ready to go ride this thing. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I appreciate you watching as always. If you want to get yourself some as well, like I said, link down in the description, grab yourself some. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.